And hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
And hell is coming forth. Or more like heaven. We might as well say heaven's coming forth. Because in just a couple of weeks, I'm hoping that we finally get somebody in the White House that's not corrupted by political party label loyalty. I know Donald Trump is a Republican, but he's probably as close as you can get is to someone who doesn't really care about political party label loyalty, which makes for corrupt loyalty, in my opinion. And what really kills these people about me, and this is my first really political stream that I've actually done that's dedicated to politics. I'll probably get some unsubscribers, but I've gotten to the point where I really don't care about that because right now this is what's most important to me. This is what's most important to me, man. Not just college football and sports and whatnot. This is the week of the election. Early voting's already started. We've already got some drama that's taking place with burning balloted boxes and Kamala pulling money out of North Carolina and Michael Rappaport and some of the used to be Trump haters are basically turning on Kamala because of the stupid shit that they keep saying about Hitler and disrespecting the Jews and the Holocaust. So, yeah, I'll probably get some unsubscribers, but hey, I'm willing to take the hit, man. I've even changed the name of the channel because I want to be more broad-based. I don't want to just talk about sports anymore. I want to be able to talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. And if some of you get mad at me and unsubscribe to me because of that, well, you're probably going to unsubscribe eventually anyway because I'll probably end up slipping up and saying something that would, make your panties bunch and you probably wet your diaper or lose your noodle, bowels, whatever. But I'm going to start off real quick with this video, and then I might bring in Right Guy knows what I'm talking about. Right Guy 1218's in the house. There was just some ballot boxes burnt in Oregon, in Portland, and in Vancouver, Washington, but I'll get to that in a minute. But good to have you in here, Right Guy. The new name of the channel, by the way, is Outlaw the Common Folk, because that's what we are. And that's what, man, all this stuff is really pissing me off. All this drama the week before, man, they can't just let it be, man. They can't just let it be a fair fight. They can't let it be a fair election, in my opinion. They got to do something to try to compromise this shit because they don't want things to be done fairly anymore. But anyway, let me share this with y'all real quick, and I'm going to get y'all's take on it. We already got 6 or 7 people up in here already. By the way, they are shadow banning this because I went into one of my extra profiles, Mr. Mexoplitskin, and they're not sharing this thing out like they do my regular ones, like my other live streams. They usually share those out or push them out there to get people to come in here and watch. But because I'm doing something political and some of the hashtags are Trump inclined, yeah, they're shadow banning this shit. And what I was about to say before I got off on a tangent is what really pisses these people off, these liberals, these spastic liberals that hijack the Democratic Party, is that I'm not a Republican and I'm not really a Democrat. Now, I'm an independent now, but I was registered as a Democrat way back when in 1989. I registered as a Democrat because back then the Democratic Party wasn't as corrupt as it is now. You had conservative Democrats that believed in, that party trying to do what was right for the American people and the blue collar workers. But the Democratic Party is not about that anymore. It's completely corrupt. Now, the Republicans are really no better in some aspects, but they're a lot better than the other choice right now. So they basically made it as such. What's going to end up happening probably is the Republican Party is probably going to end up being the party that decides the presidential status each and every election until they get another second viable party that's not corrupted by a bunch of spastics that adhere to a bunch of immoral shit that everybody obviously knows is not right. But anyway, let me get to this video real quick so I can bring Killer Breeze up in here as well and get his take on some of this stupid shit that's going on. Michael Rappaport, as you know, is a Trump hater, has basically done an about face, and a lot of them are doing it now because of the stuff that's being done by Hillary Clinton and others regarding the Holocaust. Let's see if I got that up for y'all. Yep, there it is. Here we go.
One other thing that you'll see next week, Caitlin, is Trump actually reenacting the Madison Square Garden rally in 1939. I write about this in my book. President Franklin.
I write about this in my book. Man, she can't contain herself, man. Even in something as serious as this, is trying to get the next president of the United States elected, she's got to push her book. Buy my book. This is my book. Buy my book. Shut the hell up.
Franklin Roosevelt was appalled that neo-Nazis, fascists in America were lining up to essentially pledge their support for the kind of government that they were seeing in Germany. So I don't think we can ignore it. Now,
all right. You know, it's funny, their obsession with Hitler in Germany. I mean, they go back to this stuff time and time and time again. Nobody's thinking about that. Most young people have no idea what happened in Germany unless you're paying attention to class.
I'm going to fast forward this a little bit, but this clip is brought to us by Officer Tatum. He's a great podcaster. Check him out if you get a chance. Officer Tatum is a real American. A real American. All right, so I'm going to fast forward it to the Michael Rappaport part right here.
I got to give him some props because he came out and he drug him through the ground. So really this video is centered around Michael Rappaport. I had to throw Hillary Clinton ugly head in there. But listen to what he said, because this dude used to be a super anti-Trumper, and I used to dislike him to the umpteenth degree. And I saw him on an airplane with this black woman, and I almost said something to him, but I said, you know what, B, you be a bigger man than that. We were headed to Burbank, and I was like, I'm gonna clown him. I'm gonna say Trump 2020 when I walk by him. And I said, let him go, B. Don't do him like that. He may cry and stuff in front of his woman. Don't do him like that. But it seemed like he'd come over to our side. Roll the clip.
Imagine if ChatGPT and Canva had a baby. That's at Creative AI. It's the only generative AI designed for
Donald Trump, pig Donald Trump. Call him whatever you want. I've given you gem after gem for years. But stop with the Hitler shit. Stop with the Hitler shit. Do not refer to Hitler and the Holocaust, the actual greatest slaughter and actual genocide of the Jewish people ever, for attention and political gain. Stop it. That Nazi rally that took place in Madison Square Garden in 1939 was just that, an actual true blue Nazi rally. So are you saying that anyone and everyone who shows up at Madison Square Garden for this upcoming Trump rally is a Nazi? That's a Nazi rally? Get the out of here. What kind of rallies are happening on the college campuses in New York City, in Union Square, where they're waving Hamas flags and kissing Yahya Sinwar photos? What kind of rallies are that? Do not mention the Holocaust, Hitler, to score political points when you ignore the greatest slaughter of Jews since the actual Holocaust, which happened on October 7th. All this Hitler talk, all this Holocaust talk, with so little Holocaust studies in schools. Do not bring up Hitler and Nazis when there are 101 hostages. 101 hostages, and you say nothing about them. Cut the shit. Do not use Nazis and Hitler for your agenda when you haven't mentioned the 13 women that are still being held captive today, while you're wearing your future is female t-shirt. It's disgusting. It's disrespectful to the victims and survivors of the Holocaust and to the real-time victims and survivors and the hostages of October 7th. Stop it.
And that's Michael Rappaport basically being red-pilled. I don't even like to call it red-pilled. I just like to call it being aware of what's morally correct and what's just common sense of just to do what's right, man. Do what's right, man. Don't be doing all this stupid shit, man. You know, putting Holocaust out there. Kamala Harris's jackass comes on and she freaking she's in on that shit too. And the main thing that he said that really I want to make a point about is they want to say that people are holding an event at the MSG, Madison Square Garden, a political rally, and that automatically compares it to the 1939 Nazi rally at MSG. So you're telling me that anybody that holds a political rally of any kind at Madison Square Garden that automatically means that they're trying to follow in the footsteps of the Nazi rally in 1939. You know how freaking stupid that sounds? You know how spastic you people sound out there? Like I said, this ain't got a damn thing to do with being Democrat or Republican. So stop that shit, man. That whole political party label loyalty is bullshit. The only reason I'm voting for Republican is because it's the lesser of two evils, and it's obvious who means harm to this country. And it ain't the Republicans. The Republicans have their own corruptness about them. That's why we're just going to have to eventually somehow force it to where there's either another party other than the Democrats or just do away with party labels, period. I know that sounds reaching, but I'm just fed up with all the bullshit. But I'm going to go ahead and bring in Killer Breeze because the last couple of days have really pissed me off, man. All right, here we go.
What's happening?
What's going on, brother? I wasn't really sure if anybody want to come in here and get involved in this shit, but Killer Breeze stepped up to the plate and said he wanted to take a swing at it, so here he is.
Gladly. First of all, props to the dozen or so people we have in the chat tonight. I didn't think that with YouTube doing their best to shadow ban everything conservative. I was on YouTube earlier this morning, and I was making a comment on a video about Kamala Harris, and I'm sick and what I'm so tired of, man. And I'm going to use one of their own terms: the gaslighting, dude. The gaslighting is out of control. Constantly accusing the right and Trump of being divisive, the gall, the divisive. And so I made a comment saying, it's pretty amazing to me that they have the nerve to say that he's divisive, as if the rhetoric coming from their own side of the fence isn't just as, if not more divisive than anything else. And the guy said, well, someone said, well, exactly what do you think is so divisive? What have they said that's so divisive from the leadership of the left? I went on right off the top of my head, I listed about 8 or 9 different things. But I was very respectful, didn't say anything rude, didn't get personal. And what do you know? The comment never made it. It disappeared like poof out of thin air.
Now I'm gonna have to go to Rumble or something, man. Because
it's ridiculous.
Usually I go and check and see if it's getting pushed out when I'm on my football podcast. And I went on my extra profile, Mr. Mexican, and he wouldn't get any notifications. My extra profile got no notifications of this live stream tonight.
No.
Shit really pisses me off, man.
But that's what you're up against, man. And that's the crazy thing. Like, first of all, I find it more than fascinating that the parties are essentially switching places right before our very eyes, because the Democrats, which used to be the party of free speech, anti-censorship, no war, helping for the working class, they're none of those things anymore. And the right, which used to be all of those, the pro-war, now all of a sudden they're the ones that are trying to call for the end of the nonsensical wars. I mean, but I'll tell you, man, the thing that has, I thought about this not too long ago. It's amazing how differently I look at things now. And it all started with Trump in 2016. And then it just got, hyper emphasized with COVID. And that is, I remember growing up in the Cold War, I used to feel sorry for countries like the USSR, North Korea, Cuba, the fact that their government would propagandize them and the people, be helpless, without free speech, man, and with censorship running all over the place. You don't understand how bad things can get and how quickly, and that's where we are now. That's where we are. We have people in this country that feel like free speech is somehow a problem. that democracy is actually somehow a problem, because we don't understand what freedom in this country is all about. Free speech is the cornerstone of everything else that this country was built on, man. It's the cornerstone of it. And they're trying to take it away. And it doesn't piss off the people that it used to piss off the most. And I don't understand.
That's
I really
crazy.
don't understand.
It's crazy. It's like it's flipped, like you said, man. Sisyphus JWK says Jews always want to ignore the slaughter of Russian whites and the Bolshevik Jews. I never said that I was, the Jews were perfect. I wasn't really saying that everything the Jews do is right, because I'm not a Jew. But I was just saying that whether it's the Jews or the Bolshevik views or the Russian whites or the Israelites back in the Egyptian times getting persecuted, don't use that shit for political gain, just like Michael Rappaport said. I'm not taking up for the Jews completely, Sisyphus. I'm just saying that they shouldn't be using that shit and saying that Donald Trump is like that. This wasn't me coming here just taking up for the Jews.
But the reality is it's disgusting to compare the man to Hitler for political posturing.
Yeah, that's the point.
Considering what he did, that is absolutely disgusting and abhorrent. There's no questioning that. And when you make the accusations that they're making, I mean, hell, man, MSNBC was playing side-by-side footage from the 1939 Nazi rally and the Trump rally over the weekend. They were playing them side-by-side. And the implication is not just that Trump is a Nazi or Hitler. The implication is also that anyone else that would support him or go to that rally is the same. Joe Biden tonight called all of Trump's supporters garbage. That's what he said out loud. Man, if that doesn't tell you what you need to know, because contrary to what they do accuse Trump of, he is not the guy saying that he wants to, that he believes that the people that support Kamala are less than. It's not what he's saying.
Well, what's disgusting is it's like a coordinated effort by all the mainstream media. I've never seen anything like it. ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC. It's like they've all been programmed to say the same shit over and over again.
It is, man.
A lot of people watch. All people watch is mainstream media still. There's still people out there that don't watch independent networks like we see on YouTube and whatnot and get real news. It's like it's coordinated, and it makes you wonder, how long has this shit been going on? We just didn't know it. It's been going on since probably the 60s.
Before that, dude. Before that. Ever since the end of World War II, the military-industrial complex has had a necessity for war to justify their existence and the proliferation of it. Now, I want to be real clear about something. First of all, my grandfather was a highly decorated World War II paratrooper badass. I'm all about the military. Those guys are more men than I could ever be. And I firmly believe one of the things that protects us is having the baddest military in the world. And that's what we should have. But dude, do we have to constantly overthrow governments for that to be the case? Like, I just don't feel like it's necessary anymore, if it ever was. And we need to be honest about that. When you see people like Sean Ryan, who's got 3 million subscribers to the Sean Ryan podcast, who's doing viewership numbers equal to equivalent to Joe Rogan in terms of views on episodes. And that guy, you can see the pain and torture in his eyes when he talks about the fact that he knows some of the things that he fought for in the military at this point were wrong. He was lied to.
Yeah.
And so to answer your question, I think we've been being propagandized for a very long time, at least the last 60, 70 years. And man, just think about, until the proliferation of the internet and independent news, all you knew, first of all, there weren't very many choices you even had. You've had for a long time 3 choices: ABC, NBC, CBS. That was it. That's where you got your news. There was one of those 3.
Exactly.
That was it. And your newspaper.
Or used to they deviate, like you had people on NBC that would be like, okay, we don't agree with you on this, CBS. But now it's not like that anymore, man. They all are coordinated together.
that's the whole point, is that now you're not allowed to have an alternate view. You know, the reality is no one gets it perfect. So it's good when we have changes of leadership back and forth. You know, it brings fresh ideas to the table. I never had a problem with that. I got pushed into the arms of Trump, dude. I got forced into it.
Exactly.
I was never a big Trump fan. I never watched the flipping Apprentice. I could care less. I thought he was goofy, But when I started seeing the things that they were doing, and when I started seeing the authoritarian nature, particularly during COVID, dude, it was bad enough when Trump ran in 2016 and the flack you got just for being a Trump supporter and not wanting to put Hillary's evil ass in the office. That was bad enough. But then when we got into COVID and we saw exactly what the left thinks that they have the right to do when they've decided that they know better than us. And if you are being honest with yourself, there's not really a whole lot you can do when the government is telling you otherwise. You have some hard choices to make at that point. You either live like an outlaw or you leave. And that's easier said than done.
Let me ask everybody that's in here right now that I don't normally ask this a lot, but y'all need to, other than just jump out and hit the like button, I need y'all to also share this out, because like I said, I have a feeling that something ain't quite right, because it wouldn't be notified on my other channels, and usually I get notified on my other channels. So if y'all could share this thing out, it'd be very helpful for me. Right guy 1218 says, by their logic, the New York Knicks and the New York Rangers are Nazi organizations since they both play at Madison Square Garden, right?
That's the whole point. It's ridiculous.
Barnes Homestead says the military is conducting drills with helicopters to fortify the Capitol as we type this, says Barnes Homestead.
That's exactly right. It's ridiculous, man. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And it's not going to change unless the people like me and you and everyone in the chat, it's not going to change until we demand more, until we hold people accountable with our vote, until we get involved in the politics. Nobody wants to be involved in it, but man, look what happens when you stand on the sideline. This is what happens.
Is it congressmen or senators? Is it congressmen or senators that get a lifetime election once they're elected?
Well, that's Supreme Court justices. Congressmen come in every the House of Representatives are every 2 years. Every 6 years, and the Senate is every 2.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, ain't they able to get reelected, unlimited reelected?
Oh, there's no term limits. No, yeah. First of all,
shit's got to stop, man. That's the problem. There's too many people that's been there too long that get away with shit because they've been there so long.
If you enforced term limits in Congress, and if you took corporate money out of politics, you would kill about 90% of the problems right there. I mean, I
never ever understood that, man. You got term limits on the president, but you don't have term limits on these people. And these are people that you have to get the bills and the laws passed through, because the president can't do it by themselves. They have to have Congress and Senate agree to get things done. But you ain't got no limits on these people, man. I don't understand it, man.
Well, I'm just tired of there's just the double standard from these politicians is out of control. The corruption that runs throughout Washington, D.C., throughout Congress, throughout our regulatory agencies, throughout our intelligence agencies, throughout all of it, dude. It is all corrupt. And I'm just telling you, man, like, that's why, man, at least, Trump's not a perfect candidate by any means, but he's the only one even talking about trying to break away from the establishment, man. That's our only chance right now.
Yeah, I saw something where I can't remember how exactly it was worded, but the Trump family is the first family that's gotten into office that wasn't connected in some way or some form to the whatever you want to call it, the cabal. I don't know the right adjective to describe it, but let me ask you, let me get your thoughts on this article right here that Jonathan Lewis sent me. Ballot boxes today were set on fire in Oregon and Washington. says
I heard about
incendiary
it.
devices were set off Monday at 2 ballot drop boxes, one in Portland and another in nearby Vancouver, Washington, destroying hundreds of ballots in what one official called a direct attack on democracy a week before the heated election. So, what do you think about that, man? What do you
Well, I
think?
can tell you why they're doing it. They're doing it because it's some crazy ass liberal who's doing it because the word around everywhere is that Republican early voting is way up. So I'm sure they decided to come in and try to destroy some, overall conservative votes. I mean, man, that's what's going on. I don't like where we are. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, none of that. But at the same time, I'm a realist, man. And in this country there is no middle class anymore. There's two countries going on simultaneously right now. There's the country of the wealthy elite, and then there's the rest of us. That's what it is. And the wealthy elite, like little things like gas going up or eggs, a dozen eggs costing 3 and 4 times as much. It doesn't matter to them. It matters to me and you, and we're the ones that are increasingly having our say taken away.
And she won't answer a question either, man. That aggravates the piss out of me, man. They'll ask her a question and she'll redirect it to try to label or to try to direct an insult at Donald Trump.
That's all.
Like, answer the damn question, man. The question wasn't even about Donald Trump, moron. It was about you. And she said, well, things are going to change. Really? Why haven't they changed now, man? You've been in office 4 years. Why can't you start doing some changes now?
They've been in office. The Democrats have had the office 12 of the last 16 years, man.
Right guy said Hitler also killed Christians. He killed Christians as well, not just Jews. Barn Homestead said no to Obama Harris.
Obama.
The abomination. Obama Harris and Tampon Tim's 4th term. Now, I believe that's right. I think there's a puppeteer system going on because we all know Joe Biden wouldn't have sound mind to run the country. I think it's Obama and some of his cronies going for a 4th term, like he is pointing out here.
Firmus Paradox 1 says ballot drop boxes should be illegal, and he's exactly right. That's another thing.
Who said that?
Firmus Paradox 1, the Bama fan.
I didn't see that one. I guess I'm behind.
Well, maybe mine is behind. That's the second to last comment on mine. Michael Jackson is the.
Okay, I see that. Mine's behind. I pushed mine up. By the way, if y'all do want to get your comment read out by me and Killer Breeze, all you gotta do is hit that little money dollar sign at the bottom, write your comment out, then hit send. It'll push it to the top and highlight it, and we'll answer your question above others because I'm running behind on these comments big time.
The ballot boxes, the mail-in voting, all of that. Man, mail-in voting was never supposed to be mail-in voting was supposed to be kind of a special circumstance type of thing. Military men that were out of the country, or if you happen to be out of the country, it wasn't really supposed to be people that were fully capable of voting either early or on election day. And quite frankly, unless I'm mistaken, I'm pretty sure our Constitution calls for one election day, not early voting and not fucking.
Yeah, I don't like all that stuff either, man. Now, Alabama and Mississippi and Nevada are the only 3 states that don't allow early voting. So everybody does it except for those 3 states. And the mail-in ballots are very corruptible. I mean, those can get corrupted very easily. Very, very easily, man. It's a bunch of horse shit's what it is. Rye Guy says, what is funny is that he burned a ballot box in Portland, which is very, very, very liberal area. Vancouver, Washington is more balanced than Portland. It wouldn't surprise me if it was somebody that maybe masked themselves as a Republican to try to make it look like the Republicans were doing it. Sort of like that the guy that shot Donald Trump's ear. Well, he was registered. He was a registered Republican, but he was giving money to Joe Biden's campaign. What he done was he tried to make it look like the Republicans were doing it. He was a plant, what you call a rhino, I guess. And actually, he was a Democrat, and he took his shot at Donald Trump. Can you imagine what it would be like right now if he had hit him in the head?
Dude, until you said when when you first started off, you said when Donald Trump got shot, and until you said in the ear, I was about to ask you which time, because they've tried to kill the dude 2 or 3 times at this point already. You know what I'm saying? No, I can't imagine what it would have been like if they'd have shot him, if he wouldn't have turned his head. I mean, dude, he turned, and literally his whole life is hanging on the fact that he randomly turned his head like this at the very exact moment he needed to do it.
It almost makes you want to believe in divine intervention sometimes.
Oh, 100%, 100%, man.
And I wasn't really sold on JD Vance at first, but the more I hear this guy talk, and he goes into the lines, then he'll go on CNN, MSNBC, and he will light these guys up, man.
JD Vance, he's one of the best politicians I've seen in a long, long time. And I admittedly didn't know much about him until he got on the ticket. I had watched that movie that was made off of the book he wrote that made him famous. But didn't know much about him, and I've never seen him speak in an interview, in a debate, on a podcast. I've never heard him speak and not come away from it going, God damn, that dude is pretty good.
Yeah, and he comes from a pretty hard background, man.
Tough background.
He wasn't just given it. He didn't inherit wealth like Hunter Biden and the Biden family and the Clintons and the Bushes. That's right. I said the Bushes too. Yeah, they're Republicans, but man, it don't matter. That's what I'm trying to tell people. People are like, oh, you're a Republican, you're a Trumpster. It ain't got nothing to do with that, man.
That's the point. That's another reason why they hate Trump so much. He's the first one that hasn't been part of this Republican Democrat secret uniparty thing. Dude, Obama was going and visiting the Bush family when he was a kid. Every time George Bush sees Michelle Obama, he gives her this special little candy, and it's the same candy that Obama used to get as a kid going and visit the Bush family. Sounds flipping nuts, right? I agree, but it's real. It's absolutely real. It's these people, man, are all together, and we are being played. We are being played against each other. They're making us fight against each other to avoid putting the onus and finally start focusing on them. That's what they don't want. And we're falling for it, hook, line, and sinker, man. I don't have any problem against my black or yellow or red brothers and sisters. I have zero issue with it.
Hell no.
I don't think I think that I'm sure there are racists walking around, but I think the number of them are probably pretty actually slim when you're getting down to the truth of it.
That's right.
And it's a class thing, dude. It's a class thing.
Donald Trump
that's what it is.
Did you watch the Joe Rogan interview that he done?
Oh yeah.
I watched part of it. I ain't watched all of it so long, but he basically outlined why he couldn't run as a third party. Basically, what he was saying is, I didn't want to run as a Republican, but I had to. It was the only way to get in there is you have to take one of these party labels, and then when you get in there, you start doing what you want to do. And it's just like, RFK. He's like, man, it's just stacked against you. They want to make it to where it's only 2 parties. And if I'm not mistaken, back in the day, I think George Washington, one of the earlier presidents, said that a 2-party system was not a good idea for the country.
It's outlived its purpose, man. I mean, it's a problem now. It's a problem, and but there's some fundamental things that just have to change to even try to tackle that part of it, But yeah, the 2 parties now they have a lockhold, and that's why Trump actually breaking into it and having a chance. I mean, man, you can look at it any way you want, but the fact that he came in there and he was the one wanting to do things differently than they had been done before, that rattled chains and that pissed people off. And look at what they did to the dude, man. Look at what they did.
Look at the Cheney family. They basically become Democrats.
Same thing.
Tim Gillespie's got his badge. He's deputized. Going to be in the outlaw posse. We're still the outlaw posse, even though I changed the name a little bit. We're taking a chance here. But anyway, problem isn't corporate money, it's apathetic voters that only pay attention 2 weeks before the election. That's what he thinks the problem is.
Yeah, man. I mean, I definitely agree with him about the apathetic voters, but I would respectfully disagree about the corporate money. The reality is that now that corporate money is in the game, the amount of money that gets that they spend on these campaigns is massive. And the only entities that can actually really give the kind of money that counts, the kind of money that moves the needle, you just got to think about it rationally. What would you do if you gave a political candidate $50 million? Would you expect something back for your money? I mean, dude, you wouldn't do it unless you're in business, man. Those political, at least largely in the, up until 15 seconds ago, they were given, that was part of their business expense. That was part of what they spent their money on for ROI, for return on their investment. And I can promise you this, if they didn't see massive returns on that kind of money, they wouldn't spend it. So when you have that kind of money involved, there's no way it's not going to turn into a favor system. There's just no way. We need to take that money out. And if that means they don't get to spend as much money on TV ads, so be it. That's just what it is.
Zach Hamler backs up what I was saying a while ago. George Washington said political parties would be the death of the country. And Fred Bagley sort of backs up what we were talking about earlier. There needs to be term limits in the Senate and Congress, and we wouldn't have to worry about the two-party issue.
Hey, hold on a second. Tim says, I don't mean to jump around here.
There you go. Go ahead.
Tim, I'm not doubting that grassroots money is big, but grassroots is not going to be able to get grassroots money in small denominations. They're not getting favors back for that. That's never going to happen. They might contribute more overall, and that's a good thing because that you're proving my point. You can take the corporate money out, and there's still plenty of money around, right? So I'm not going to get any favors from George Bush or Dick Cheney for donating $25 or $100. But my corporation donating $5 million is certainly going to get an ear, and more than that than I'm going to get for $20. I mean, would you disagree with that? I feel like, the corporate money is a problem, but I certainly respect grassroots heat. Okay. I misunderstood you. I don't disagree with that. Grassroots heat is number one, no doubt. But the problem with grassroots heat is that it's incredibly hard to organize, and the Democrats seem to be better at that than the Republicans.
Let me get your take on this article that I got today. I actually saw this first on Depressed Ginger on his channel. He's a YouTube channel. He's a guy that does sports and politics, so y'all check him out as well. But the article is about Kamala Harris. It says Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris is waving the white flag in North Carolina, surrendering state to former President Donald Trump on her campaign. She withdrew $2 million in planned ads for television stations nationwide, and they're going to throw all their money into Virginia. Surprise, surprise. No shit. Y'all left all them people to die in North Carolina, and now they're not going to vote for your ass. So what do you think? What did y'all think was going to happen, man? Y'all think, we'll give them $750 and they'll find some way from the state government to get money? I mean, what the hell do they think was going to happen, man?
Hey, let me ask you this. Do you think it's generally a good idea to piss off a bunch of people that know how to live off the land and the mountains? I mean, that's just some of the toughest people on the planet, dude. They're not going to forget something like that. By the way, where that was Breitbart? That's where you got that from? Where did you find that story talking about her giving up on North Carolina?
Actually, the first time I saw it was on Depressed Ginger. It's a YouTube channel. Okay. But the story's out there. This is just one I picked. They also had on CNN and other sites, but I don't use them because they're jackasses. But Breitbart, is that how you say it?
Breitbart, yeah.
Let me.
Hey, while you're looking at that, what's up, John? Good to see you in tonight. And I don't know if Larry Trowecki is still in the chat. He came in flashing his Huskers, his corn.
Yeah. He's a big corn Husker guy. Breitbart.
Breitbart, yeah.
But
Breitbart.
It's also out there. If if you don't trust Brett Bart, because some people don't like him, there's like 15 other articles out there about it. She basically waved a white flag in North Carolina, which I thought was a swing state.
Well, it is a swing state, but here's the interesting thing about that. Up until, again, I mean, I haven't heard otherwise, but I have heard people, supporters of her campaign and people that work in her campaign, I have heard all of them, when confronted with the fact that he is that she is not gonna win all three of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And a lot of times that North Carolina is what they would bring up. They're like, yeah, but it also looks like she's going to probably win North Carolina, and that would make up for losing some of that. What do they call that? The blue wall states or something like that.
They said she was going to try to invest in the Rust Belt.
Well, she needs to win. That's part of her path. She has to have that, because
they said that she's gambling by putting all of her eggs in one basket at this point, and that'd be her only avenue to victory is to win the Rust Belt. Well, I don't think she can win the Rust Belt. I don't think she's going to win Pennsylvania because of the shit that took place there.
Pennsylvania is a big one.
Is that a Rust Belt state?
I think it is.
I'm thinking they're talking about Virginia and Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan.
I don't think Virginia is part of the Rust Belt, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, why don't she take all the money from Carolina and throw it in Virginia?
I don't know. Maybe I don't. Virginia's not a swing state, but maybe that's the state that they would normally win, and it looks like they might lose it now.
Yeah, they said something about allocating funds to New Hampshire as well. I didn't know New Hampshire was a swing state either, but you know.
I don't know.
Like you said, maybe they're starting her avenue's getting really, really small. And if for some reason, somehow this election gets tainted again, man, I don't think there's any going back, man. I think you're either going to have to put Donald Trump in the office, or there's going to be some shit go down. Because good people.
Here's the thing. That's one of the things that Tim Gillespie says, that they do show Trump possibly pulling ahead in New Hampshire, and Virginia is tied. And then, Tim, those are traditionally Democrat strongholds, right?
Yeah, New Hampshire, you'd think, is a Democratic stronghold.
But Virginia, too, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Virginia may be, one of those states, I don't know. It's back and forth, but,
No, Ohio is not a swing state anymore. It's solid red. Anyway, it looks like Trump's going to take Georgia and Arizona.
Yeah, they said Georgia was a swing state.
It was.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's not like he has a huge lead in Georgia, but it's more comfortable than most of the leads that either him or her have are less than a percentage point. It's crazy. But he's ahead by a few in Georgia and a few in Arizona. I think actually Arizona is his most comfortable lead.
Bridget Clark says that Brett Bart is one of her favorite news sources. They're very honest in their reporting. So, like I said, that's the first time I've used them, but I'll just take y'all's word for it.
Tim said he's ahead in Nevada. Really?
Yeah, that's.
I hope so.
That's not good. That's not good for the liberals, and that's what you have to call them now, because there's no real true conservative Democrats in that party anymore. I know of. I know I'm not.
No, you got to call them. You got to call them progressive.
No, man. I'm still actually registered as a Democrat. I've been procrastinating, going down there changing shit. But I guess you call me a dino. I'm not a rhino, but a dino. I'll go in there down primaries and vote for the shittiest candidate I can. Go vote for Bernie Sanders or some shit. They'd probably be better off. Seriously, I'm glad they were dumb enough to do what they did, because there's a couple of key mistakes the Democrats made. First of all, they pushed Joe Biden out without any votes for Kamala, which reeks of non-democratic nation, right?
Oh yeah,
they're always preaching democracy's under attack, and they're the ones attacking it. They put her in there without getting one single vote. That was the first misstep, I think. Another misstep was that they pushed her. They should have had another get together or some kind of voting or primary. Or something. They should have had a primary and got together and come up with another candidate. And I'm getting calls already. People blow my damn phone up.
Well, the problem
So-
is that's another. Well, go ahead, finish your point.
Why didn't they if they were smart, man, if they're going to put a woman up there, they should have just put Hillary Clinton back in there. She won the popular vote.
She's got no chance.
She won the popular vote though, but and I think she would have lost again, like you say. But she would have had a better chance than Kamala, don't you think?
Well, Kamala's retarded, so yeah.
Then Kamala's choice of vice president was about as bad as she could get. If she had been really smart, she would have got that guy from Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro.
That would have been a much better, yes. That would have been much better.
She can't control herself, man. She's going to take it.
No, but dude, you're missing.
She's going to take the banana and she's going to shove the banana right up her ass every time, man.
But you're missing the point, man. She didn't make that choice. That's what I'm saying. Everything's been installed on the Democrat side. That's what I find. So again, with the gaslighting that I brought up earlier, they want to talk about the Trump and the people that support Trump are a threat to democracy. Dude, the only threats to democracy are happening already. They're in motion in front of your face if you're paying attention, and they're all coming from the other side. The weaponization of the DOJ, lawfare, avoiding the democratic process, choosing candidates. I mean, all of it is crazy, dude, and it's happening from one side only. And again, the Republicans are far from perfect, dude. They are far from perfect. They're not a whole lot different. They got a lot of problems too. But man, at least they're not trying to take away your free speech. At least they're not trying to dictate how you live, what kind of car you drive, what kind of stove you use, what kind of energy you want to use. They're force feeding this. That's coming from one side only. I mean, and if I'm wrong, somebody tell me where I'm wrong, because I'm not trying to be a blowhard.
And they opened up the border for all these illegal immigrants, and some of them's they're not Spanish or Mexican. They're terrorists coming over.
That's another thing, man. With our reputation in the world and with the beef that we've already got with the Middle Eastern countries that we've got beef with and the terrorist organizations that we've got beef with, you think now is the time to allow people to come through your fucking wall? Come through your wall like a picket fence in a flood? That's what it is. Yeah. And you can't. And by the way, they're not all South and Central Americans coming over. It's a lot of Chinese, young military-aged Chinese men. It's a lot of Middle Eastern guys. To think that they're not already here and planning another domestic attack is just being foolish. And we just gotta hope. We just gotta hope and pray that we're not one of the innocent people standing around when the building that you're in blows up from out of nowhere.
Biden made all these executive orders as soon as he got in and changed everything that Trump had said or done just because it was Trump and the Republicans. And that's what they got to get away from doing, man. Just because you don't like somebody don't mean they can't be right about something. There's plenty of people I don't like in YouTube and podcasting, but sometimes if they're right, man. If someone said, Oklahoma needs to fire Seth Luttrell, and someone's like, nah, that's bullshit. Just because they don't like you. Even though everybody knows that Seth Luttrell probably need to get the axe, they just going to disagree with you because they don't like you. That's sort of a football comparison, but I'm just saying, man, he went and tore down shit just on the premise that Donald Trump had put it up there. That'd be like a man that I don't like built me a house, and it was a great house. I decided to burn the damn thing down because I didn't like it.
100%. They're just the logic and reason is just out the window, man. It's just. And
it's hoping and praying about the immigrants, and maybe I'll hope and pray that someone ain't already in here. I'm sure there's already a bunch.
They're already here, dude. You can't that's the chances of it not being true are almost like infinitesimally small. That there's almost zero chance that some scary, dangerous, evil dudes are not already here. Whether they're successful or not, that's just going to depend on whether we're fortunate enough to stop them. But they're here already. There's no way you can allow millions of people to come over unchecked. There's no way. There's no way. And I've heard multiple people that have gone down to the border, talk about the people that they've actually saw coming across, and they all commented on how surprised they were to see just exactly how wide of a variety of people that were coming through. Like, you get the impression from the news that it's all about hating on Hispanic people coming from Central and South America. That once again is the misdirection of keeping your attention away from the fact that it's not just them. And then when you start looking at certain things, like you start looking at the percentage of people going where once they get in this country. Oh, well, come to find out, it's like 3 and 4 and 5 times the rate in the swing states than it is anywhere else. Why do you think that would be?
Yeah.
Well, do you think that's just an accident?
Yeah. They're trying to change the color of that state, right?
That's damn right, man.
Fred Bagley sort of said that yesterday detectives investigated numerous polling places and found hundreds of bad ballots with fake names, signatures not matching, and other discrepancies. Yeah, I mean that's what went on last election, and there wasn't a lot of security in place for that. I think this time around they got a little more security, maybe a little more fairness in what's going on. I don't know, man. It's hard to tell who's on your side anymore. You can't even trust the FBI anymore.
You can't trust any of those intelligence agencies, man. You gotta listen to guys like Sean Ryan. You gotta get your information from places that you know are not gonna hide the truth. You know, as crazy as it sounds, for guys like me and you, and based on what we grew up with, you know, you can't go to the traditional news outlets. You got to go to people like Sean Ryan. I'm telling you, man, I have learned more from watching and listening to the Sean Ryan show. It's blown my mind. It has, but you got to listen to Tucker Carlson. I mean, I don't like Tucker. I can't stand the goofy laugh, but the reality is the people that he has on his show and the knowledge and information that you get it is going to, I mean, man, it's just completely transformed the way that I look at things. And, you know, John, I appreciate, because I take that as a compliment.
I was going to say, that's probably the biggest compliment I've ever got, is that we're real Americans. It ain't got shit to do with, hey, you're a MAGA, you're a liberal. It's got to do with being real Americans. That's all it's got to do. It ain't got nothing to do with the stupid ass party system, man.
But the other thing too is, man, like, and I'm not trying to be melodramatic about it, but that whole notion of what it means to be an American is in threat of going away. There is a scary number of young people in this world, in this country, excuse me, whose idea of what it means to be a man or a woman and a proud American is unfathomable to me. And if we want to keep this, if we care about that American thing at all, then you have to stand up, and you got to take the chance and be vulnerable enough to be ridiculed by openly talking about and defending what matters to you. And man, I think for a long time, because I noticed the left was nuts I've ever since political correctness came into the zeitgeist in the late 70s and 80s, I've hated it. But I think the problem is my stance, which I think a lot of people like me took, was, man, that's so crazy. I'm not even going to get involved. That's so crazy that the world will rid that craziness itself. I don't have to get involved.
That's right.
And we stood around, and the crazier just got crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier, to the point now where we literally don't know what boys and girls are anymore. I mean, we know, but there's a lot of people who don't know. And when you talk about the biology of it, they want to act like that doesn't matter. Like, now we've gotten to this point where when the left in particular doesn't like the facts of a situation, they don't just spin it anymore. They just either avoid it altogether or come up with a complete alternate reality of what the facts actually are. And there's no accountability for it. So when you hear that nonsense going on, you have to now call it, man. And you got,
I think something's wrong with your camera. It keeps shaking.
No, that's me because I'm hitting my table.
I thought it was shit like, damn, you gotta have an
I'm
earthquake.
getting excited, so I'm touching my table like this. Getting me
Richard
going.
Clark says it best. I know it's probably Captain Obvious statement. What they were really saying is good versus evil, regardless of party. That's exactly right, man. It's just like Kilbree said, though. A lot of us have sat around for so long and we're independents, and we like, look, we don't want to get involved in that stupid shit. We're just going to go on and lead our lives and be good people. But now they forced people like us that are really have been on the fence and just been independent. They're forcing us to take a side, and they're pushing us over there to the Republican Party. Not that we want to be a Republican, but they don't give us any choice with the stupid shit that they do on the other side, man.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. I was just listening to a debate between Sam Harris and Ben Shapiro. It was 2 hours long. I had no intention of listening to the whole thing, but I just couldn't stop listening to it because Sam Harris, who's at least used to be considered by some to be a modern day intellectual, his Trump derangement syndrome is so out of control, dude. To listen to the things that he justifies and says out loud as if it's real is unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable, and he ain't the only one. There's a lot of people, man. And at a certain point, we just gotta. And here's the thing, while I say all of this, we still got to get along, man. It's not about. Like, it's easy to get hyped up about it, but I have no interest in winning an argument. I don't care about that.
No, I don't either.
We got to get along, but
it's like you said, they're playing people against each other. They're playing people against each other. They're playing whites against blacks, blacks against whites, blacks against Mexicans, Mexicans against Chinese people. That's the only way they can win is divide us, man. And like you said, we may disagree with other races about certain things, but when it comes down to it, if I'm at a grocery store, I'm coming out of a convenience store, and a black person's walking up, open the door for them, man, or they open the door for me. Yeah, because we're just people, man. We just happen to be different colors,
100%. Well, dude, I in my job, I sell for a living. So I sell to people on both sides of the aisle. And, man, I go out of my way to just get along with everyone, and everybody, it's very rare when I come across truly bad people, and there's bad everywhere, I don't blame anyone for believing what they believe, but that's where it ends. You believe that, that's what you believe, fine. But just because you believe it, I feel like we've gotten to a place where one side feels like they know what the real truth is, they know what the right thing to do is, and us over here, it's sad that we don't get it, and they're gonna have to decide for us now. And that's just not what this country's all about, man. The notion that this government can force you to take a shot is outrageous to me.
They basically took people's jobs away from them. Washington State fired their football coach and assistant because they wouldn't take the shot. My wife applied at DCH Hospital, and they were going to give her a job there, and they wanted her to take the shot, and she refused to take the shot, so she didn't get that job at DCH Hospital here in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
We went down to my friend Jonathan's house in San Antonio and thought we had jobs set up down there. We was going to move to San Antonio, and there were jobs that were on the base. Come to find out, you have to take that shot. And I told Jonathan, I was not going to take that shot, man. And I meant it. And we had to move back to Tuscaloosa because of that shit, man. Like you said, man, it's just infuriating that they think they can force themselves on you. And then they want to clamor and cry about this is a threat to democracy. Man, y'all been a threat to democracy for the last 4 or 5 years, man. Maybe longer than that. Y'all been a threat to democracy.
Yeah. But we got to get control of all of it, man. And we've got to get control of the money too. the spending is out of control. You know, I never used to be a healthcare for everyone person until I got to the point where I realized just how much money we continue to waste on things that don't matter. So if we're going to send $50 billion to Ukraine, or we're just going to constantly flood the rest of the world with aid when we have such gargantuan issues at home, then fuck it. Give everybody health care. You know,
RFK sort of has a platform about that Donald Trump is going to try to implement. It's called Make America Healthy Again.
I'm stoked about that. His alliance, this is what should excite everyone. His alliance, and sorry, man, I didn't mean to jump over you like that. But his alliance.
I was just sort of playing your point about the health issues. RFK is trying to address that, and the fact that a lot of these foods that they're feeding us are poison, man. The red dyes and all this other stuff, man. They've been poisoning us for decades.
Yeah, and it all ties back to money again. They've been doing it because of the major corporations that own the process. You know, you can go all the way back to, man, when the two largest tobacco companies well, first of all, the biggest food companies in this country, like Kraft, are owned by tobacco companies. And they got bought by the tobacco companies. Once it became public knowledge that smoking was bad for you, they knew their industry was doomed, and so they got into food. And just like they did when they pumped cigarettes out, knowing that it was bad for people's health, they started creating and producing the cheapest food they could produce, and they rigged basically the FDA and the USDA this is a scam that goes on all the time. They basically rigged with the regulatory agencies of the United States to make it look like that food is actually safe or healthier than it really is. They know it. They don't care because it's the money involved, and everyone involved in the process is getting rich off of it, man. It's what it is.
Makes you want to move to another country, don't
it? Well, I mean,
because other countries don't have that issue. A lot of them don't have that issue, man. There's foods in other countries that they won't let them sell, but they sell them over here.
No, I agree. And Tatted Sailor, listen, I'm not a fan of government run anything. That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is, you know, I was always against it because, again, it's one of those luxury items. Like, the government's job is not to provide everything for every citizen. That was never, in my opinion, what the government was supposed to do. So my biggest argument against healthcare for everyone was the price tag of it and how the hell are we going to pay for it? But my point is, if we're going to continually send money to countries all over the world for seemingly less important or not important at all things than the issues we got here, there's a suicide epidemic going on in our veteran community, man. There's a suicide epidemic going on. Those guys are killing themselves at record numbers. And my point is, why are we going to send money to Ukraine when we need to help these guys?
They want them to kill themselves because then they got to worry about paying for anything for them.
Well, you know, that's probably true. That's how sick it is. But my point with with free healthcare was not that the government healthcare would be the best the government would be the best provider of the healthcare. It's just that if we're going to spend this money on these other countries, then screw it, man. Just spend it on us and give us the healthcare.
Yeah, RFK is wanting to do that. He's wanting to implement some more. You know, he's wanting to go into these agencies that you're talking about that are corrupt and just clean their ass out and just hire new people.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do you think when the food pyramid came out that the foundation of it was breads and cereal? That was the foundation. Donuts, cereal, and bread. You think that might have been because
most cereals are bad for you.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Yeah. It's because Post and Kellogg's were all up in the regulatory business, and they were the ones producing all this cereal. And so it's just like, again, it's all of this is like, unfortunately, man, we've been the victim of this in this country when we thought we were this shining example because of our democracy, which we were in that regard. But we fooled ourselves into thinking that greed would not demonize, you know, a lot of what was going on in this country too. And the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of people who don't care. As long as they can make enough money, if some people have to die for them to become eternally rich, they will make that decision. They will make that choice. So we've got to get smart to what's really going on, and we got to start getting getting people out of office that aren't doing anything about it, and start putting in people in office that are talking about doing things. And Donald Trump's alliance with RFK Jr. and to Make America Healthy Again, Elon Musk and the government efficiency. I mean, Elon Musk, he's talking about putting Elon Musk in charge of evaluating government operations, whether they're efficient or not, and if they're not, taking them out. That's makes me excited. When you start talking about lowering the number of federal employees,
I'm surprised.
I get excited.
I'm surprised that someone hadn't tried to take a shot at Elon Musk.
Oh, it's probably coming. But he's also go ahead.
Fred Bagley says it was 300 plus chemicals in cigarettes that are worse off than tobacco itself. That, man, it's probably true because, back in the days when the Indians were smoking it, there wasn't no shit in it. So, yeah. BlackRock owns everything. Bridget Clark says, I've listened to RFK Jr. speeches exposing the truth about what they put in our food. He also exposed bad things about what they put in our medicines and shots. Yeah. Why do you think we had an epidemic of kids that become autistic all of a sudden? When autism wasn't that big of a thing, maybe it's because they just didn't know what it was back in the 60s and 70s. I don't know. But it seems like more kids become autistics when they start changing up the immunization shots for kids. Do you agree with that?
Say that again, man. Sorry, I was trying to answer Tatted Sailor.
Yeah, he's talking about your microwave. I saw it.
Yeah. Say that again. I'm sorry, dude.
I forgot what I was saying now.
Yeah, sorry. But the reality is, again, man.
I was talking about autism. She was talking about medicines and shots are also tainted, and I was saying that there was just an inordinate amount of kids becoming autistic after they took those immunization shots in the late 90s and early 2000s.
The vaccine industry is a booming, huge, multi-billion-dollar industry. And if you go back to 1986, Ronald Reagan signed into law that all manufacturers of vaccines get full immunity.
Sound like you almost said Ronald McDonald.
No, I said Ronald Reagan at first. But they got all of those vaccine companies got full immunity from any liability. The number of vaccines that all of a sudden started getting produced for all these illnesses that we supposedly needed protection from, it just exploded, man. Kids back in prior to 1986 used to get somewhere around, I think it was 9 or 10, maybe a dozen vaccines at the most. The number now is over 70. It's over 70, dude, vaccines that they get to get immunized. It's just like, and man, if you go look at the COVID vaccine itself, not to get into the COVID thing, but just go do a little bit of research and see what the amount of vaccine injured people and what they're actually dealing with. It's a real thing. And that happened because we got forced to do something.
I'll be right back. You take the reins for a while. I'll be right back.
So what is Fred Bagley here? They sell the same. Yeah. That's right. If you go look at that Fred is exactly right. If you go buy a box of Fruit Loops from Mexico, man, and you go look at a box of Fruit Loops from the United States, or if you go get that same box in Canada, the box of Fruit Loops in Canada and Mexico is going to look a lot different than the one in the United States. The one in the United States is bright, vibrant colors that just so happen to be real appealing to kids, and the boxes from the northern and southern neighbors of ours are going to be pale and muted in contrast. And that's because those countries don't allow the same toxic, noxious dyes in their food. And you got to ask yourself, why, like, it's such a pointless thing, right? It's such a nothing thing. Like, that's a no-brainer. Well, if we know that something is bad for us, then certainly the government's not gonna allow that to get put into our food. And if we're buying something in the grocery store, certainly our regulatory agencies are not going to allow this product to get on the shelf of my grocery store where I buy the food and nourishment for my family. They're not going to allow me to buy something that's possibly going to make me sick, right? Wrong. They will do that. If the money is in it for them, they will absolutely do it, and they will rig the system every time they can. And just because something gets certified safe by the government does not mean it is. You should look into it yourself.
Rick Birdwell brings up his grandson developed emphysema and now diagnosed with ADHD. That's another thing. ADHD, there's a big ass thing of ADHD cases come around in the late 80s, mid 80s till now. And they give them Ritalin and find out Ritalin wasn't too good for them.
Go figure.
They just go ahead and
ketamine.
They just throw a pill at something. And a lot of my friends get mad at me when I say that. They're like, man, you don't understand. I have to have this pill. It's not an addictive pill.
No, you don't.
Well, if it's not an addictive pill, then why do you have to take it?
All of these pills, JPC, all they do is treat the symptoms. They don't make you well. And the reason why is because it's to the benefit of the pharmaceutical companies to sell you medicine forever instead of selling you medicine for a couple of days.
And they'll tell me it's not an addictive pill. Yeah, they say that, but if you don't take the pill, then you're going to get the symptoms back. So in a way, it is addictive. You have to take it for the rest of your life.
Did you know it's a very recent phenomenon, this whole chronic condition and forever medication? Did you know that it was not until the birth control pill was produced and sold in this country, that was the first pill that people took for more than a couple of days? It was potentially indefinite, or at least for a long time. That was the first, dude. That wasn't until like the 60s, I believe. So that's like only the last 60 years. Meaning in the past, if you ever took a pill, it was something you took very temporarily. That was what you did. Because the idea was to ease your pain as much as it was to cure you. And chronic, so the body has a way of healing itself, and taking pills forever ain't it. And trust me, I know that from experience myself. I went down to therapy, taking all the pills and the ADHD. I got diagnosed with that too.
They can't make as much money.
Miserable.
They can't make as much money. They don't make as much money if they cure it. It's just like cancer, man. If they cured cancer, they wouldn't be making no more money.
And the thing is, none of these, think about it, all of these medications, everything you hear, and by the way, we're only one of 2 countries in the world that allows pharmaceutical companies to market and advertise directly to consumers. The only other country in the world that allows that is New Zealand. And why is that? Because maybe it's a better idea to have your doctor tell you what kind of medicine you need, other than the company selling the medicine that they're telling you that you need.
Well, every time they advertise those medicines on commercials and stuff, they always say, ask your doctor if this is okay for you.
Right. But they know dang on good and well. People don't want to spend money on a doctor. They don't like going to the doctor in general. It's the same thing with people diagnosing themselves on Google, that you are basically telling, like the depression drugs. I know, because when I was having a rough time at one point in my life, I listened to the commercial, and I went to a therapist and a psychiatrist who prescribed me these drugs, and I tried taking them. And you know what's funny is that it didn't make anything better. No. It was all BS. Exactly. They kept me on the medicine, but when I got off of all of that stuff, and when I started exercising, and I lost 45 pounds, and what do you know? I started feeling better. I'm not trying to be anyone's doctor here or tell anyone that's taking medicine that they're wrong to do it. By all means, man, do what works for you.
I mean, there's some cases where you do
gotta know what's going on with the people selling you these
I'm not
drugs.
saying, you know, that you shouldn't take any kind of medicine or any pills. I'm just saying, like you say, be wary of it. Don't just trust blindly just because they're your doctor, man. Bridget Clark says the ingredients in a lot of foods they sell here in America are banned in Europe. We sort of touched on that already. Tatted Sailor says, yeah, I don't trust the government vaccines. Look what happened with the anthrax vaccine they pushed on the service members. It's just like the COVID vaccine. That didn't cure nobody. That didn't help nobody. I got an argument with a friend of mine. He said, well, I took it because my mom was, she was at risk. I'm like, your mom wasn't at risk at nothing, man. If she didn't take that shot, she wouldn't at risk because that shot doesn't cure nothing, man. As a matter of fact, people are having problems. You're having young athletes around the world dropping dead, and they won't come out and say it, but all those athletes took that shot, man.
Yes.
People are having heart palpitations and heart problems years later. Like, well, that shot, he was given that 3 or 4 years ago. That don't mean nothing. That doesn't mean it won't have long-term effects on you.
Well, dude, look at the statins that they prescribe in the cardiovascular world. They're very controversial because a lot of folks, there's a lot of data that suggests they make things worse, you know, but they're offered up by any doctor that you see. If you think they think you have any, not just if they think you have heart disease or diagnose you with heart disease now, if they think that you might be a candidate to have heart disease, they're going to start telling you should start taking these statins. And they'll also tell you, because I've heard the same thing, that, you know, if you take these, there's data to suggest after 5 years that if you were going to have a heart attack, you'd be 30% less likely instead of, you know, to get it. Doesn't mean that'll happen for everyone, but it does happen for some people. I mean, that's what they'll tell you. And that's because they know for most people it doesn't do shit, it doesn't do anything. And there's, again, data to suggest that it hurts people. Well, I mean, there's a financial incentive for them to sell those pills, man. And that's the thing. We've got to start, you know, you got to be very wary, like you said, and you got to do some research on your own to make sure that you're not just going by the word of the people who are standing to make money when you buy the medicine.
Red flag for me on the coronavirus vaccine, the big red flag for me was when they offered to pay people to take it. I'm like, okay, well, why don't y'all pay me to take metformin for my diabetes? You know, why ain't I getting that medicine for free or getting paid to take it? Something ain't right, man, when they starting to lose money and they're actually paying you to take it. Something ain't right about that, man. Something smells big time.
Dude, just the way that the unbelievable amount of pressure that they put on people, from TV ads to radio ads to pressure from your family and friends because of the TV ads and radio ads they were hearing. I mean, the coordinated push to make people do something that they didn't want to necessarily do. Again, man, that's something that I just never thought this country would ever do, you know? And that's the reason why.
Well, they disguise themselves as being a democracy too, man. They're not really a democracy.
Right. That's good for you, Fred, getting off that stuff and losing that weight. I know you must feel a lot better, man.
I thought you'd like that because you said you lost a lot of weight too, 45 pounds. He said he lost 175 pounds by getting off prescription drugs. And I've actually thought about trying to wean myself off of metformin. I mean, I don't know. I just don't trust anything, man. They got me on lisinopril. I guess that's for, you know, blood pressure a little bit. And you know, I don't trust any of it, man.
It's well, here's the thing. When you listen to RFK Jr. and some of the people he's associated with, they all talk about you should be focusing on what's happened at the metabolic level. In other words, focus on what is the cause of your high blood pressure and try to change that instead of trying to take a pill to lower your blood pressure, right? Now, that may or may not be possible. I'm not trying to suggest that you can definitely lower your blood pressure without medicine, but it does a lot of people, you know, but you gotta sometimes do some deep dives to figure out what's going on with you.
I think it's like you said earlier, though, it's just, you know, look into eating healthy, try to get more exercise, And sometimes that helps more than anything, man. You don't think it's that easy, but it really is sometimes. It's just a better diet and more exercise.
Well, I find it funny that, like, particularly with diet, we're always listening to the government, and you know how it was when you and I were growing up. All we heard about was how fat and cholesterol was the killer. Fat and cholesterol was the killer, and as it turns out, maybe not true.
Yeah, I've heard that some cholesterol, having some cholesterol is good for you.
Well, yeah, fat and cholesterol doesn't turn out to be much of an indicator, and fat is actually very, very good for you. Turns out that sugar, on the other hand, is really bad for you. And what do you know? What's one of the biggest lobby groups? What's one of the biggest industries in the United States? The effing sugar industry. That's in everything. So, man, it's scary. I mean, there's a ton of people that took Vioxx back in the day, and they died, like 25% of them stroked out and died. And at the time they were taking the medicine, they were told it was good for them too. So it happens all the time. I heard recently somewhere that I think the number was 30% of the drugs that get approved by the FDA ultimately get recalled for being dangerous. 30%, dude. That's 1 out of every 3, basically. So
Rodney Dawkins claims that he can't post anything bad about vaccines, that the chat won't let him. I don't know if that's true or not, Rodney, because I've actually seen some people in here talking about the anthrax virus, or Vax. Tatted Settles actually mentioned it twice in here. I don't know if they're keeping people from posting about vaccines in here or not. I just know it's sort of odd that, I haven't been able to get past 20 people on this chat tonight.
Yeah.
It may be the topic, or it might be something else more nefarious. I don't know.
Well, what's funny is I've been watching it all night. It goes up, and right when it starts hitting a certain number and picking up, it drops down. And then it starts going right back up, and then it goes down. And then it goes right back up.
Yeah, because normally I get at least 30 to 40 people in here. So I'm only getting half of what I usually get. But I did go out and self-advertise and send links out to people, because if I hadn't, people probably wouldn't know we were on right now.
Well, I went to my phone actually, and I normally, if you're live, if I refresh, this time it came up. The last time when I did that, you were down, buried beneath like 15 videos before I found it.
Exactly. Hey, bastards, boy. I might find another platform or something, man. I might have to look into that.
We need to check Rumble out, because Rumble is legit, and it's just like X now. It's you're less likely to be censored there, if at all.
You just said something bad. You said crazy. You tried 8 times that everything bad about vaccines will not post. You just said the words bad and vaccine together, so I don't understand what's going on.
I don't either.
You try to post something bad about vaccines. See what happens, killer.
Okay.
I will one. COVID-19 is a farce. COVID-19 vax are a farce. I'm going to get shut down.
Vaccines are bad. Okay.
The number one thing was soda pop. Yeah, exactly. I've quit drinking drinks altogether. Every once in a while, in the blue moon, if I'm at a restaurant where they don't have something there, I might drink 0 sugar Sprite or something. But my doctor told me that even the 0 sugar drinks are bad for you. And the only thing you can really trust is water, man. And sometimes I don't know if I can trust a bottled water. I mean, I don't know what they put in this damn water, man.
Now you're starting to get it.
I need to get me one of them filtered pitchers and just put my spigot over that, man. Do that, I guess.
I don't even know if that'll work. You don't know what's in them filters.
Now, the hell with this. I'm going to get on that ship that Elon Musk offers to Mars. My ass is going to Mars, man. I'm tired of this shit.
Man, fuck, you know what? That's BS, man. We shouldn't have to leave. We're not the crazy ones, man.
Well, yeah, let's send him to Mars and tell him that there's this grand thing over there and then just push them out with no oxygen.
I honestly don't care what you tell them. If they would take the trip, I'm happy to support that and help in any way that I can.
They'll accidentally on purpose just shoot them past Mars, and they just go out there and they'll be floating around and shit, maybe hit Neptune or some shit.
Well, now Tatted Sailor's telling me my comment didn't show up in the chat. It showed up to me.
I see it right there. Vaccines are bad. Vaccines are bad. Let me try it one time, see what happens.
Well, I'll say this. If you go listen to RFK Jr. talk about vaccines, and the dude is not a conspiracy theorist, he's not an anti-vaxxer, but he talks about the fact, and man, you guys got to understand the crooked nature of how they're able to, once something is labeled a vaccine, that's why they changed the definition of vaccine so that the COVID would count, because once it's a vaccine, then the immunity kicks in. The data that they have to use is especially if it's an emergency authorization, which COVID was, the data that they have to use or are required to provide is not the same level of scrutiny that it would normally get. I mean, it's completely crooked, man. And
y'all see my comment?
Yes.
Y'all see my comment in there, Fred?
Every
vaccines are a farce, just like the damn, what's that shit called? They do for the Big Ten to get in the Big Ten. What's that shit called? The A.
Oh, was it like ARP or something like that, or
AAU?
AAU, that's what it is. ARP.
AAU is a farce too. Hey, Notre Dame's AAU accredited now. Surprise, surprise. And they're not even a research institution. Oh, I wonder why. Because they're fixing to join the Big Ten. Exactly. Tad says I posted info about the anthrax vaccine that showed up at Rodney Dawkins. I think they may just, pick and choose comments to delete. I've seen that happen before so that they don't so people don't catch on. They'll, pick a few here and there to try to delete.
So obviously I take it everyone in the chat is supporting Trump. I haven't seen any Kamala supporters, which by the way is totally fine. If you're a Kamala supporter,
most not.
Well, I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to listen.
At this point, it's like a threat to my existence in my country, because if she was a good Democratic candidate, it'd be different, man. If she was Josh Shapiro, I might say, yeah, Josh Shapiro might be a good president.
She's the scariest kind of politician that exists.
She's not really a Democrat, anyways. She's like far left liberal, man. She's not really a Democrat.
Go look at the ad that Elon just put out. It's basically her when she was in California bragging about how she got SWAT and gangland cops to go and arrest innocent, hardworking parents of truant kids, which, by the way, and she's bragging about how she wants to embarrass these parents,
You can't control what your kid does at school. You're not at school with them. There's no way you can control your kid when they're at school. If you want to arrest somebody, arrest the damn teachers for not watching them properly.
Yeah, man.
And it's not even the teacher's fault. It all falls on that kid. Once you're like 13 or 14 years old, and probably even before that, you know what the hell you're doing. Everything's on you. Your parents can only raise you to a certain point.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely the case.
I mean, when I was 5 years old, I stole one of them little chocolate footballs from Pizza Hut. They had a little tray of them little chocolate footballs. My mom went by me once. I took me a couple and put them in my mouth. I was in the car, and she started talking to me. And she asked me a question. I was like, she's like, what do you got in your mouth? Chocolate footballs. And she made me go back in there, and I had to pay for them out of my allowance, and embarrassed me, and I didn't steal no more chocolate footballs. But I knew better. I knew when I stole them chocolate footballs at 5 years old that was a bad thing. I knew.
Yeah.
You know right. Shit by the time people try to play it off like, oh, they're just kids, man. No, there's an awareness there. When you get about 4 or 5 years old, you know better.
That's right. Harvey Johnson, you are right. Bill Clinton campaigned at Madison Square Garden in 92.
We got another Nazi. There he is.
And also, by the way, I'm pretty sure so did Nixon, maybe, and maybe LBJ,
Yeah.
something like that. There was like
Didn't
3 other
LBJ
people.
Didn't LBJ get caught on a hot mic saying that he'd have that N word voting for him for 150 years? And something like
Dude.
that. Wasn't Joe
Um,
Biden caught in many pictures campaigning and supporting Robert Byrd, a known KKK Grand Wizard?
Yes.
So who's the racist here?
Yes.
I got into it with a liberal about that, and I kept asking that question. You know what he done? You know what he would say when I bring it up?
I can only imagine.
He would change the subject or start saying something else about Trump, just like Kamala.
Yeah, that's what they
wouldn't
do.
answer the question. He wouldn't answer that. Every time I bring it up, he'd try to deflect onto something else.
That's what they do, man. That's
I'm like,
exactly
you gonna answer my
what they
question?
do.
You gonna tell me what's up with that? And he wouldn't say anything, man. He couldn't say anything because he was calling Donald Trump a racist, and I'm like, Donald Trump didn't support the KKK, but Biden did. So,
Well, then they can never provide proof of or show where he said something that's racist. They always say something that is taken out of context. Hold on a second.
I'm about to get me one of them STP shirts.
Like that?
Yeah, it's old school. I need to get me one of them cat hats too. My dad used to wear one when he worked down at the foundry on Caterpillars, man. He had this cat hat. Everybody used to wear them cat hats. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Rodney Dawkins says none of these people on the left are nothing but power-hungry communists. I didn't miss school because my daddy would kick my ass. See, that's the problem is out there in California, you're not allowed to discipline children, but then they want you to be able to make them stay at home from school. They ain't got no reason to be. If they're not scared of getting punished, why should they mind their parents? You know what I mean? I'm not saying beat your child and bring the blood out of them. I'm just saying a little spank ain't gonna hurt, man. Every once in a while, just a swat on the ass ain't gonna hurt.
That's a fact.
I mean, it'll hurt, but it won't. It won't hurt long term. I used to have a bad habit of setting yards on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad come out there and caught me, man. Saw my little friend Ray. His eyes got this big. And I was like, what the hell's wrong with him? And I looked back, and there's my dad. He jerked me up. I heard this big whoosh sound. Didn't set no more yards on fire.
What's up, Taco? Taco's in the house. Taco, we've been going off.
Yeah, you missed the good parts. The good parts from earlier, man. We run out of steam now, but Hussein and his husband probably did too. I assume he's talking about Obama.
That's a fact. So, man, what is your prediction for Tuesday? What do you before we go tonight? Let's talk. What's your plan? Are you going to do a live stream during the election night, during the results coming in?
I don't know. That might be a good idea. I might not, actually get docked for that. Like I did that Oklahoma stream, and they basically demonetized the video. They may not demonetize an election. They might not demonetize an election show.
There's a lot of people doing that though, so they're gonna have a hard time.
I might video me going to vote. I might video myself going to the voting box. I don't know if they allow me to do that or not.
I don't know that you can take a camera into the booth with you, but maybe.
I mean, your phone's got a camera on it, so
I don't know. Yeah, how are they gonna? Yeah, I don't know that they.
I took a picture last time I voted in the mayoral election here. I've never voted in the mayor's election here in Tuscaloosa until the last one, and it's because we have a Democratic mayor here, and unfortunately, my vote didn't get him out, but. I tried to elect Martin Houston as the mayor. He used to play football for Alabama. He was a fullback for the 92 team. By the way, he's a black dude. So,
Yeah.
But I'm racist. I get called racist all the time. And the mayor, he's white. And I think he's, a little fruity. But,
Yeah, man, it's gonna be.
I hate gay people, just like I said in my little comment on my post, man. I don't hate gay people. I just feel sorry for them because they'll never know the touch of a real woman. Just saying, man. There's nothing like it.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
I'm a big
I'm
fan.
not gonna lie.
Now, I'm not a real big fan of another man touching me, but you know.
Taco said apparently he's a racist. No, you're not, Taco. We're putting an end to that nonsense.
Wait, did I miss the channel name change? Yeah, I just changed it today, brother. I did a podcast early trying to aggravate Kuz a little bit. He's probably mad at me right now. I'm surprised he showed up. You showed up a little late tonight, Kuz, but earlier, if you'll rewind this show, we actually got into some pretty good and entertaining stuff, man. They tried to shadow ban me tonight, I think, but I took care of that by linking it out. But once we go off the air, this thing will go straight to podcast, and y'all can go back and check out the real good parts early on. Kuz is in one of them liberal states, I think. Is West Virginia? No. Are they going? Or
hell no, West Virginia.
West Virginia going? Is West Virginia red, Kuz? Because he told me at one time that it was a red state.
There's no chance West Virginia's voting Kamala Harris. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I can look that shit up, though. I can find that out.
I'll tell you what, Kuz. If you want me to, just to make it up to you, if you want me to, I'll delete that video I made about West Virginia today. I sort of feel bad about it now. Yeah, you ever done something you thought, man, this is gonna this will be great, man. This, screw everybody. I'm gonna piss somebody off, and then you do it and you piss everybody off. You're like, damn, I wish I hadn't done that. That's what I feel like when I mess with Kuz, man. I want to aggravate him a little bit, but then he's so nice to me afterwards. I feel bad. I'm like, damn, man. That's supposed to piss you off, man, and make you mad at all, man. Like, it didn't work out how I wanted to. I feel like, damn.
Yeah, Kuz has figured you out. Kuz figured out got the cheat code on that game.
He said West Virginia voted 70% for Trump last time.
That's what I figured.
I thought you told me that West Virginia was more of a Democratic state at one point.
Taco, I'm sorry.
Maybe it's because it's their governor. Go ahead.
No, I can't remember. Taco, are you in Oklahoma?
He's an Oklahoma fan.
No, I know he's an Oklahoma fan, but does he live in Oklahoma? For some reason, I feel like I remember him saying he lives in Oklahoma. But if you're not in Oklahoma, Taco, where are you at? What state are you in tonight? Yeah, he's in Oklahoma. That's what I thought.
Everything is red right now. Okay.
It is a windy night down here too.
Look at that. He says I haven't even watched it. Probably won't. You see that? That's that thing right there that makes me want to mess with you, man. I watch some of your videos and give it watch time. Sometimes I'll just turn on and let them run. But at least turn them on and let them run, man. Give you watch time, man. I was your first interview, man. I'm the one that helped you get to where you're at today, man. You can't watch my videos? Damn, man. At least you're still in the Outlaw Posse. I'm waiting for him.
He brings up a point. He's watching right now.
Damn, man, you got Killer Breeze over here ganging up on me, man. Y'all both KMCA.
I'm not picking sides. I'm not picking sides at all. I'm glad to see that West Virginia is beginning to go solid red. If we can get Virginia to flip, that would just be phenomenal. That would be great. We can get a nice run and at least have 4 years of no more nonsense well, actually, what am I talking about? I don't know that you can rid it that quick or at all.
I saw something today that, that song that West Virginia plays at their games, Country Roads.
Yeah.
That they talk about West Virginian song, does John Denver, but he's actually talking about Western Virginia, because the river, the Shenandoah River, runs through Virginia and don't run through West Virginia. So the song is not actually about West Virginia; it's about Western Virginia. So y'all got a farce of a song, man. You got to do something about that song, man. Y'all can't go with that fake song like that.
Wow. Now those are fighting words. You're gonna take away their pride and joy. Country road. Who says no way? But that does make sense. If you're telling me that river only runs in Western Virginia, then he clearly, as a songwriter, he's just trying to make it sound good as it rolls off the tongue. So he's not going to say Western Virginia, Mountain Mama. He's just going to say West Virginia.
He said that's old. Well, I didn't know nothing about it, man. I just got to reading on it today when I was trying to aggravate you a little bit, and I was just like, it'd be like Alabama taking a song about, Rocky Top or something, man.
But wait. Oh, wow, but we are kind of confirming that the river does not run through West Virginia.
Exactly. It might be old, but hey, it's true. And people just forgot. I'm going to bring it back up. I'm going to make sure people don't forget, man. We're going to take that song away.
I don't know, man.
I'm going to take that song away from y'all, man. That ain't y'all song no more. I'm going to tell the Cavaliers and the Hokies what y'all doing.
It is a great song.
Wait till I tell the Hokies what y'all doing, man.
Now, Coos says it does touch West Virginia.
What, a creek? It's probably one of them outlet creeks that touch it in that little tip end. They got this little tip end that pokes up between Ohio and Pennsylvania. It looks like a teepee.
Uppercut.
Yeah, see, you done got Fred Bagley on me, man. Look, what's going on here? I see it sense a mutiny in the posse.
I love it.
He said, leave Coos alone. I'm just loving on him. He knows. I have a feeling, though, if we met each other in person, he'd probably show me the capital of Thailand.
There's a lot of badges up in this room right now.
Would you show me the capital of Thailand if you met me in person? Coos?
Bangkok?
Yeah. It was pop right in the cock one time. Did that China syndrome on. Remember China? Used to be the China syndrome. She would come up behind somebody, whack. That's what I'm going to do to Michelle Obama, because I know she's got a set of balls.
Big Mama Michelle?
Yeah, Michael. Michael Obama.
Big Mike. I like it when everybody online calls him Big Mike.
the Kenyan, the Kenyan prince, Hussein Obama.
Big Mike. Yeah, Big Mike is she's big, man.
Yeah, y'all checking me now. Y'all putting a check on me now.
She's got something weird going on in her mouth. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know, man. I hear all that stuff about she used to be a man and stuff. I don't know about that, man. I don't know. I mean, I've seen her in a dress before, and if she's a man, she's got a hell of a nice ass for a dude. I ain't gonna lie. Michelle Obama's pretty hot, man.
No. Wrong.
So is Kamala, man. You know you'd have sex with Kamala.
No.
You lying, man.
First of all, hand to God. I don't think Big Mike or Kamala are good at all. And that has nothing to do with the color of their skin, because I'd get all up in Rihanna and stretch that out real quick.
About
Big Mama Michelle and
look, man, about 10 years ago, Kamala, when she was
Rye Guy's back in the house. What up, Rye Guy?
When when Kamala was
she's got a man back.
I can't even speak, man. When Kamala, back in the day when she was dating Montel Williams, she was hot, man. She was hot.
No.
Oh man, you're saying that because you're just saying that because she's a Democrat.
No, that has nothing to do with it. Because again, they got plenty of Dems that I would be all up. I'd have no problem.
What about AOC?
AOC is hot.
Woo! You're damn right. She's hot. Hot Latino boy.
Maybe AOC is hot. It's fire hot.
Maybe you can hump.
You know what's so funny about you saying that is that I was watching a video with AOC's dumbass this morning, and that's exactly what I was thinking to myself. I'm like, God, it sucks that she's so hot because I want to hate her, but I want to bang her too.
Yeah. You want them grudge humps, right?
I'll take anything. With me bringing to Jesus, we can spin her around like the NBA.
What about that one in Minnesota that's got the turban on her head? What's her name? She's damn Muslim.
Oh, Ilhan Omar? Fuck her. Yeah. No.
She's got a pretty face, man.
No, she doesn't, dude. Are you drunk right now? Are you hitting shots of tequila on the side? Just tell me.
No, man. Jonathan sent me some shrooms in the mail last night.
Ilhan Omar is not hot at all. Not even close to hot.
She sort of looks like Felicia Rashad from the Cosby Family. Though.
No. Now Felicia Rashad was hot.
Yeah, she was.
So was Lisa Bonet.
All them Cosby girls were hot. Even little Rudy grew up to be hot. She's in that movie with
she's all right.
She grew up in that movie with Queen Latifah, that Barber movie or whatever.
What about the one that had the birthmark on her neck or something? Or no, her arm. Closest in age to Theo.
Theo, man. I ain't like that dude.
Jam it on the one. Jam it on the one.
I used to like how Carlton danced on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That was the greatest dance I ever seen.
Alfonso Ribeiro.
Yeah. He said that part ruined him. He couldn't act after that, man. Nobody took him seriously.
Yeah.
Now
it's just like being Urkel.
Doing game shows.
It's just like being Urkel. I'm quite sure that didn't help him anything, even when they tried to turn him into Suave Urkel.
That guy said he was watching Jeopardy and part of the World Series, man. You gonna put us down for Jeopardy?
Who won the World Series?
Who cares? It's Los Angeles and New York.
I know, but there's game 3 tonight, right?
Yeah.
Or was it game 4?
Who are you rooting for, man? Both of those cities suck. I guess I root for New York. I can't stand Los Angeles.
I really hate LA. Yeah, I guess. But New York's not a whole lot better, dude. It's kind of the same thing, just on the other side of the country.
They fixed that shit just like they did the last election.
Yeah. It's I don't know that it's a whole lot different. They both got problems. Big time problems. My guy says his mom is from New York.
He said Kamala got her start banging Willie Brown when he was still married, and she was like 19 or some shit.
Yes, dude. That's the whole reason why she's in office. If you go back and look at her time for both the district attorney's office in San Francisco as well as the city attorney's office, she barely prosecuted any cases. Like this whole idea that she's the only person that's prosecuted transnational criminal organizations that deal in the trade of guns, drugs, and human beings. I mean, I only notice word for word because she says it every single time she answers the phone or answers the questions. But that's a lie. Once again, it's just an absolute lie. She doesn't have a big record of that. She barely prosecuted any cases. I think she prosecuted 1 or 2 cases max in the time she was with the city attorney. Not a whole lot different than when she was in the DA's office. She had to leave the DA's office because she was out to try and get the DA kicked out because again, she was the mistress of Willie Brown, who was married at the time. Willie Brown at the time was considered by most people to be the most powerful Democrat in the state of California, one of, if not the most powerful Democrats in the state of California. Certainly the most powerful Democrat in Northern California and San Francisco. And the only reason why we know Kamala's name at all is because she was blowing Willie Brown and fucking and screwing Willie Brown. Sorry, man, I keep dropping.
I learned a new terminology from Kamala being in this race, man. That I can thank her for. It's called word salad. I never heard that term before until they started talking about her. They said that she's nothing but word salad. She'll just start saying shit randomly, saying educated words and just putting them in sentences, and they don't mean shit.
Yeah, she's spitting out more lettuce than fucking, you know. I mean, she's just the absolute worst, man. She's just the absolute worst. She's horrible. You know, there's just nothing about her that is impressive at all. And she's just a horrible candidate, man. And again, you know, had it not been for Willie Brown, we wouldn't even. Once again, she was kind of just installed into place, you know. And
well, it's just like when she got put in as the vice president, man. She was one of the least favorite candidates during that primary. She didn't get. I don't think she got one delegate, did she?
No, she didn't get one vote, much less one delegate. And here's
they
the
made
thing.
her the vice president only because they thought that she would help with the minority black vote as well as the women vote.
She was there.
She's not even black.
She was their candidate, dude. She was the person that they thought they were going to replace Obama with, you know, that they were going to go from the first black male to the first black female. And she was the one that was progressive enough to go along with even the craziest of ideas. But more importantly, she was the one that was controllable, the most controllable. She'll do whatever they say. She's got no brain of her own. She's just repeating what they tell her to say in the first place. Just look at the way she's answering or not answering questions.
I don't think they realize it, man. I don't think they realize it. I think there are a lot of them's behind on the fact that social media has basically pulled the curtain back, and they just keep doing shit like they're still in the 80s and 90s. Yeah. I don't think they really realize it, man.
Yeah.
And they get caught up in all these lies, man. It's like Tim Walz lying about going to Iraq and then find out he retired so he wouldn't have to go to Iraq. What's his name? J.D. Vance called their ass out about that shit. He's like, you over here questioning me about a sarcastic mark I made 3 years ago, but you won't answer the question of why did Tim Walz lie and say he served in Iraq when he retired and never went over there?
Yeah.
That's stolen valor, man. That's a huge cardinal sin.
Oh yeah.
To steal valor, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man, it's just not good. It's not good. Well, brother, I think I might need to pull the plug, man. I got work early in the morning.
All right.
But I had a blast tonight. I love talking to everyone in the chat. Tatted Sailor, Rye Guy. Who's some of the other guys? Fred, of course, Taco. All y'all, man. Be well. Justin, if you're still in here, I hope everybody's doing well. I hope
Authentic Aaron Woodard Escapade podcast, blah, blah, blah. Damn, man. You got the whole damn alphabet in your damn podcast, don't you?
The Valor, the military service.
Valor of what? Stolen valor. You not know what stolen valor is? Stolen valor is when you pretend like you served in the military at some juncture and you weren't there.
Well, in particular for Tim Walz, it's wartime stolen valor. So he claimed to be a wartime veteran, and he did not carry weapons of war during war. That is not something he ever did.
No, as a matter of fact, he done a video trying to show himself hunting, and he couldn't get the rifle to. He couldn't put his rifle together.
Yeah, he couldn't load it. He couldn't load it. It was because he's clearly left-handed, and he had a right-handed shotgun. I could tell that. Well, y'all be good, man. I'll be in touch, dude.
All right, brother. Take care.
Take it easy, man.
That was Killer Breeze, the Oklahoma roughneck that comes on here from time to time to help back me up and give me a little bit of a rest and keep y'all rest from me. But Y'all have any more questions tonight? Y'all have any other comments you want to make about the whole election day drama, burning of the ballot boxes, and Kamala basically giving up on North Carolina, pulling all the resources, and Michael Rappaport, who used to be a staunch Democrat and a Trump hater, basically being red-pilled and basically calling out all these liberal spastics for trying to use the Holocaust to further their political agenda, using a mass murdering of Jews to try to further their cause in beating Donald Trump. I'm not a Bible thumper. I believe there's a God, but I'm not a Bible thumper. But anyway, I'm going to get up out of here. You guys and gals take care. Catch y'all on the other side. KMCA to all the liberal spastics. Class is now officially dismissed.